Are you registered for GVMS to get your goods through customs? What is GVMS? GVMS, Goods Vehicle Movement Service, is an IT platform designed for coordinating the movement of vehicles between Great Britain and the EU. It supports both the pre-lodgement model and the temporary storage model for both imports, exports, and facilitates transit movements. At border locations operating a pre-lodgement model and using GVMS to control goods, pre-lodged import and export declaration references are linked together with a single goods movement record. The GMR contains details of the planned crossing, vehicle trailer registration numbers, and declaration references for all goods within a vehicle making a crossing on a GVMS route. This also applies to unaccompanied trailers. How does GVMS work? For EU to UK imports, with the exception of Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Upon check-in at the port, the carrier must use GVMS to verify the GMR presented to them and cross-check the details on the GMR with the vehicle. Vehicles will be turned away at check-in if a valid GMR cannot be presented or if their registration numbers do not match those on the GMR. GVMS allows for automatic arrival in chief and CDS as soon as the goods board at the EU side, so that UK import declarations can be processed by HMRC en route to the UK. Once the vehicle has embarked on the crossing, the status in GVMS will be updated to embarked. The platform sends an electronic notification through Chief when inbound goods are successfully cleared before they arrive in the UK, allowing them to quickly pass through customs. If GVMS determines that the movement requires either a documentary or a physical inspection check, a notification will be sent within 30 minutes after embarkation. Those vehicles must report to the designated Customs Inspection Center upon arrival, located at the border or an inland facility depending on the port. Following completion of the checks, customs officials will update GVMS once the goods have been cleared. For transit shipments, the Transit Accompanying Document (TAD) data must be entered into GVMS prior to departure in the EU. In order for this to work, the haulier or transport companies must receive the TAD or MRN from the trader and input the data in GVMS along with the license plate number of the truck or trailer. Transit movements do not require a CSP, Community Systems Provider, or Chief badge. However, an NCTS UK badge is required to end the transit movement. For UK to EU exports, prior to arrival at the port, the trader provides the haulier with the Declaration Unique Consignment Reference Number to create the GMR. The GMR is updated to include the vehicle or trailer registration numbers and crossing details. For GVMS ports operating the arrived process, such as Dover, the Eurotunnel, and Heysham, an arrived combined export and safety and security declaration is submitted before the goods leave the trader's premises. The driver must wait for Chief or CDS to provide a permission to progress, also known as a P2P, before proceeding to the port or a border facility, inland or at the port, if selected for documentary or physical checks. Upon arrival at the port, the carrier validates the GMR and verifies the P2P status against the GVMS. Valid GMRs with P2P are approved to board. Invalid GMRs or those without P2P are turned away from the port. For GVMS locations using standard exports, such as New Haven and Sheerness, the export declaration must be pre-lodged. Upon arrival at the port, the haulier provides the carrier with the GMR. The carrier submits the GMR to GVMS to validate and arrive the declaration. Goods are approved to board once the carrier receives the P2P. and valid GMRs are turned away from port. Where goods are selected for documentary or physical inspection, the haulier will be directed to the designated area or on-site inspection facility and subsequently allowed to board following P2P on completion of the checks. When the goods leave the UK, confirmation of departure is instigated by the carrier via GVMS. GVMS receives the GMRs and disaggregates the DUCRs to Chief/CDS to initiate departure. For CTC transit movements, it should be noted that the GMR should contain the TAD or MRN for arrived exports, whereas for standard exports, the GMR should contain the DUCRs in place of the TAD/MRN. If you would like to learn more about GVMS and the changing Brexit customs requirements, check out our webpage, which outlines key dates along with the latest blogs and webinars. Stay tuned for our next video on how GVMS works in CAS.